5 seconds.
Hello to the two fans
Reserve
and welcome
time.
back. This is Chicago Ted coming to you with our second series of the day. That is Union Gaming versus Luccini. And from what I've heard, Luccini is pretty much the dark horse in this one. Now, I'm not one to pass judgment before a game even starts, but this team is
Radiant's
another one of
ban.
those open qualifier teams that I think
Dyer's ban.
I think they won their group stage. Now, I stupidly closed my tab that showed me all the group stage results, but if they didn't win, I mean, making it past the group stage is difficult enough because you've got all of these qualified or invited teams going
10
up
seconds
against
to
the
go.
open qualifier teams, and pretty much in
5
that
seconds.
respect, there are four group 60 teams. You expect the 10 teams to be invited. You
Reserve
expect
time.
8 teams that move on to be kind of a subset of those 10 teams, right? Well, 2 or 3 open qualifier teams of the 6 that qualified actually made it through. And I mean, I can take a quick look at the brackets for you guys right here, right now, and let's see. Let's open so I can look at it. DDA, Luccini, are both open qualifier teams. I'm not sure if Semzora Red is or not, but those 3, I believe, are the open qualifier teams. And by any stretch, that is amazing.
Radiant's
You
ban.
can be talking about any sort of situation for open qualifier teams to be doing better than teams that you invited to perform very, very well. That's crazy. So Luccini, got to give him a lot of credit here, but we
10
have to be
seconds to
sure
go.
they have to be sure that they don't let that go to their head. Their performance needs to
5
be top
seconds.
notch because Union Gaming, not a team that'll take a loss sitting down. So
Reserve time.
we'll be looking for a very, very good game coming out from both of these teams. Of course, again, I'm Chicago Ted casting this for you guys. The English cast of the Sudamerican Master 2 tournament, powered, of course, by Hitbox, which is where this is being casted on, as well as a plethora of other names. G2A, of course, being displayed on the
Dyer's
Twitch screen
pick.
right now. For those of you watching in game, of course, thanks for joining us inside the game. We appreciate having you, and look forward to a
Radiant's
really,
pick.
really good game. For those just joining in that want to know the score of the prior series, which was DDA versus... Oh, man, I am actually blanking on this one. Sad Voids, that's right. DDA versus Sad Voids. Sad Voids took it 2-0. However, DDA, first game went 80 minutes, second 42. DDA didn't go down without a fight. So it was a really,
10
really great
seconds to
series.
go.
If you can, go back and watch that. I would greatly
5
recommend
seconds.
it here and now. So, with all that kind of foreplay aside, we're going right on to the game. Union Gaming going to start out with a gyrocopter
Radiant's
pick. Pretty standard carry. Shadow Fiend being the reply. And of course, I do love Shadow Fiend. I especially love him versus the gyrocopter because of the fact that his damage starts to get scary a long time
Dyer's pick.
before the gyrocopter starts really being able to hit harder than a pea shooter, and that kind of makes for a very difficult game, especially if you consider the Shadow Fiend going for something like a Blink Yules combo, which has been fairly popular, either that or the mech combo, which will mean that Gyrocopter literally will not do anything to the Shadow Fiend. But with anything like a Blink Yules, that Gyrocopter is not the tankiest hero.
10
And
seconds to
although
go.
some people typically build something like a Sanjin Yasha on him or a Mantis style or anything that
5
gives him a little bit
seconds.
of extra tankiness on top of the BKB common item.
Reserve
Even
time.
with that, it's going to be a Requiem of Souls right in his face that completely blows him up if it's right on top. If it's not, percentage-based damage decrease is not something that you laugh at any point in the game, and Gyrocopter will probably have to struggle with that one. A Shadow Demon will come out, further reducing Gyrocopter. I mean, again, I love this hero. I think he's really, really versatile, but at the same time, Shadow Demon and Shadow Fiend both do fairly well versus him, so
Dyer's
we're
ban.
going to have to keep an eye out for how they play it against. Disruptor will be picked up by Union Gaming, however, giving them a little bit of extra team fight, kind of making it so that playing from behind is not something that they want to be doing. But it still gives them some great team fight. If they can get a call down, static
Radiant's
storm, kinetic
ban.
field, lock them all in place, and then, let the physical damage from the flak cannon follow up. Well, then we could be seeing a couple of one-team fights, turn team fights, whatever the case. Union Gaming's lineup is still very,
10
very strong
seconds
so
to
far.
go.
Only 2 picks from either team, though, so we'll have to see the direction they're going from
5
these
seconds.
next couple. But Bloodseeker will get banned out, Broodmother
Dyer's
as
ban.
well. Not quite sure the Broodmother ban. Actually, yeah, it's not that potent versus Shadow Fiend if he can hit his raises and burst down those spiderlings very quickly. But it's still, it can win a lane. Like
10 seconds
Shadow
to
Demon
go.
doesn't exactly do much against an aggressive
5
Broodmother
seconds.
off lane. You could pick a support that may be able to do more, maybe like a Lion or
Reserve time.
I'm hard pressed to find supports that handle well against a Broodmother, but you get the picture. Maybe grab something like that, but they figure, if we don't want to play against it, just ban it out. It's been the pretty common sort of
Radiant's ban.
ideal that all the teams want to run for. They're going to go ahead and ban out the Juggernaut as well. Final ban coming out. All these guys crying on their graves as they're taken out of the game, but
10 seconds to go.
we'll have to see. Again, a lot of
5
what their
seconds.
strategy is going to be relies on these next 2 picks coming out. So these bans, important to note because you can
Reserve
kind of get an
time.
idea of what they might be deciding to go for. Of course, with Union Gaming picking up a Gyro, they want to get rid of heroes that can close the distance. You've got your Quap, your Huskar, your Bloodseeker, your Juggernaut. Those all fit the bill, and they're all gone. I mean, it just makes sense, right? So with those being taken out, it does give Gyrocopter a little bit more free range. Now, there is still a Clockwork in the mix, which can throw Gyrocopter for a loop. Maybe not as much as the prior because of the fact that if Gyro can get his Rocket Barrage off, which he will, 0 cast time, cannot get blocked
Radiant's
out by
pick.
the Battery Assault, then he shouldn't have, he should be able to clean up the Clockwork very quickly. But still, heroes that get up close and personal are the ones that he has to be incredibly careful of. And, well, TA will get banned out. That's a hero that you typically draft to do well versus a Shadow Fiend. So with that gone, the Shadow Fiend has a little bit more free reign than what would be expected. But there are still plenty of other heroes that you
10
can pick up
seconds
to
to- 10
kind of
seconds
punish
to
this
go.
this sort of greedy one position mid. Earthshaker is one
seconds.
that comes to mind. Maybe you draft him up, and Shadow Fiend automatically just has an awful day. Can initiate from
Reserve
across the
time.
river, catch him out of position, and just blow him up. Disruptor also does fairly well, just being able to pull him back. If he was in a bad position, no longer is in a bad position, you can make it so that he's back in a bad position. And that is really, really helpful. But again,
Dyer's
Disruptor,
pick.
not a hero that can really fall far behind. So rotating and ganking, not exactly his strong suit, as he wants to be that one, finding that quick level 6, not really leaving the lane of experience. Unless he goes and stacks a couple of camps, which Gyrocopter may be able to farm up pretty quickly, or they can pick a carry the mid player that can farm stacks very quickly, then maybe he can start coming out. Maybe something like a Storm Spirit, or, well, I would have said TA, but
10 seconds
that's
to
gone.
go.
So who knows? We'll have to see what they go from here. Lena will get
5
picked up,
seconds.
which kind of... Well, a Shadow Demon Lena support combo is still very good. Disruption
Reserve
into Light
time,
Strike Array,
reserve
so
time.
probably going to be our
Radiant's
dual
pick.
support combo here. Although it could be a core Lena, again, just because of the fact that the Shadow Fiend is in here, or Shadow Demon is in here. That sort of leads me to believe otherwise. Union Gaming, though, are going to go for the Chen. So, they've got a really good early game duo from the level 6s of Chen and Disruptor that gives them a lot of team fight. In fact, level 6 all throughout the board
Someone's having
is a
technical 10
huge
seconds to
advantage
go.
that go in the way of Union Gaming. Because, of course, you've got the Laguna
5
Blade for
seconds,
Lena, you've
5
got the Rec Room of
seconds.
Souls for Shadow Fiend, but the amount of team fight ultimates that
Reserve
Union
time.
Gaming get at level 6 is superb. So, well, Lena, again, Laguna Blade is a decent nuke, especially at the level 1 upgraded, and Rec Room of Souls is really good. It just comes down to who wins a flat-out team fight, and with the Pugna
Dyer's
pick, that is that makes things a little bit more difficult. It kind of forces Gyro to go the BKB. Of course, going BKB is something that he would have to do with or without the Pugna, but With Alina on the field, it makes things super difficult because you get decrepified, you're taking a massive ton of damage. And even if Gyrocopter gets a BKB, Alina with Aghanim
10
Scepter
seconds to go.
reduces him earlier on, can reduce pretty much 90% of his
5
HP.
seconds.
Later on, probably half his HP. But at any point in the game, getting that much out of the enemy carry is huge.
Radiance
So,
ban.
Union Gaming, they will go for that Storm Spirit pickup, which again will be able to farm stacks pretty quickly. Now, with the Chen pickup, maybe they're not going to be stacking as much as previously thought. But if they do, Disruptor can catch up with a couple of those being
10
in
seconds
proximity,
to go.
and that will help them out. Huge amount. This is all
5
taking into
seconds.
account if they do not pull ahead of this early game, which, I mean, with a Gyrocopter Disruptor,
time.
they shouldn't have too much trouble in the lane, depending on who they go against, that is. If they go against the Shadow Demon Lina Pugna, which is a brutal offensive tri-lane, then they're probably going
10
nowhere.
seconds to go. Dyer's ban.
So seeing our last couple bans out, Tidehunter going away. This is falling along the lines of those huge teamfight ultimates that were coming out from Union Gaming. With Tidehunter getting taken out, that removes the biggest, the baddest of them all. Okay, that's an arguable
10
superlative,
seconds to
but
go.
Ravage, you gotta love it. So
5 seconds. 5 seconds.
with that being taken out, I mean, they got to pick their offlaner pretty carefully. They could go for a Centaur. In fact, a Centaur could be
Radiant's bid.
very good here. And with the Bristle banned out, kind of makes me wonder exactly what they're going to go for. I mean, of course, they're banning out offlaners that Luccini could have picked up. And I still like a Centaur Warrunner in this game for Union Gaming because it will allow them to kite out Luccini if they get decrept, if they get hit with
10
Demonic
seconds to
Purge,
go.
they can just pop Stampede and get right on out. Storm Spirit is able to disengage.
Dyer's
Gyrocopter
pick.
can run away, and I mean, it just will help them out so much. But Luccini, they're going to go for the Darkseer. Not really anyone that you really think benefits from the Surge, but one thing I want to point out, which is a combo that I used to love back a while ago, and I'm so happy that it's starting to become viable again. Vacuum Requiem. Just the sheer uttering
10
of those
seconds to
two
go.
words should make you shiver in your seat and
5 seconds.
cry tears of... I don't know. I don't
Reserve
even know where I'm
time.
going with this. It's just... The bottom line of this is
10 seconds to go.
it is incredibly powerful. And you're looking at a Storm, a Gyrocopter, a Disruptor, all heroes that will
Radiant's
get
pick.
completely shredded by the Requiem. Nyx, maybe not so much, because if he can pop off his spiked Carapace, he should be able to evade the damage. But it's still a very potent combo. It's still a very disastrous combo. And when you've got a Light Strike Array on top of that, it becomes... And a Nether Blast, it just becomes absolutely unable to be dealt with. Like, none of these guys are natural pipe carriers. You've got the BKB potential from the Gyrocopter, but aside from that, maybe Storm Spirit's going to have to get one. This lineup is just really, really, really strong. And as I started out this
10
draft, it
seconds
looked
to
like
go.
Union Gaming had the better kind of team fight. But now Luccini,
5
with those last
seconds.
couple of picks, have completely nailed it. So we'll have to see where that goes from now. But all comes down to execution in the grand scheme of things as we are ready to go in this game. The traditional pause coming out this time. What is it, from Luccini Gaming? Yep, the sword going ahead and pressing that button. So we'll have to be given a little bit of time. But Union Gaming all loaded in, so we'll give them the first introduction. It is going to be Jerry on the Chen, Schofield on the Nyx Assassin, Citadel on the Storm Spirit, Nightmare on the Disruptor, and Benhaz on the Gyrocopter. Both Citadel and
carry
Benhaz, two players that I am very familiar with. Casted quite a bit back when I used to do some North and South American circuits not too long ago. So, familiar with these guys. For Luccini Gaming, a team that up until now I had not heard of and have made it through the open qualifiers to get pretty high up in the brackets. They are going to be Camusi is going to on the Shadow Demon. It's Angel Demon or Angel Loman. Looks like Angel Demon, but not on the Lina. Eliadel will be on the Pugna with, what is that, Atsuya Fabuki? Oh god, these names are on the Shadow Fiend. And the Sword, thank god, something easy on the Dark Seer. So it looks like a level 1 engagement going to be happening down here by the Dravidian jungle. They're going to go ahead and glimpse back Kamuzi, and he's going to defensive disrupt. This kind of locks him in position. They got plenty of damage to bring him down. And just one kill isn't exactly worth it here in the early game. It only gives about 30 to 70 gold to each player, as can be seen. Yeah, even 30 to 40 gold to each player. The experience, 32 per. Not exactly the hugest amount of gold. Probably about a last hit per player. And although it helps, it's not gonna be the end-all. Usually a first blood before the horn starts isn't exactly worth it unless 2 or 3 kills go their way. The Sword going for the rune, will end up getting it. Does he have a way to get out of it though? He's ion shelled up and doing a decent amount of damage to both Nightmare, Schofield, and Ben has. However, with Rocket Barrage, it's just no contest. They will go ahead and bring him down. 160 gold this time going to Gyrocopter. And this is where things start to get a little problematic. So they give up 2 kills before the horn even starts. Not out of the game, not the end-all. However, it does give them a pretty decent laning advantage with the first blood gold going their way, as well as some change from that second kill. So with these lanes coming out, looks like it is a defensive tri-lane coming from these 3 heroes. Remember when I said these 3 heroes would be a brutal offensive try? Looks like they're opting not to go for it. You know, I can't exactly say I like their decision to completely avoid altogether. I will say that it does mean that their Eliadel is pretty much guaranteed farm, which you can love it or you can hate it, but that's the way it's going to be this game. The Sword might be in a little bit of trouble though. They've got the Rocket Barrage coming out into him, and Nightmare's just going to go ahead and glimpse him back. Like, there's nothing that he can really expect about this. He's going to surge away. No more glimpse. That Rocket Barrage is actually out of mana. But Jerry's here. Does he have a Penitence? Nope. Just a couple of right clicks, though. Should be enough. Oh, man, the Stout Shield procs. He's got 6 HP left. He does get a surge with a right click. It goes up 2 staircases and doesn't miss. What a right click. What an auto attack. What a kill. So with that kill, it puts Union Gaming 3 up over Luccini. This is game 1. So if things start snowballing out of control, Luccini still has an opportunity to go ahead, take a step back, and refresh, but certainly wouldn't help to drop this game. And of course, you know, you can't really count anyone out. Right now, it's still 2 minutes into the game. Going 0-3 is definitely not something that you plan to do right now. And Union Gaming's lineup can snowball very, very quickly. It has plenty of push, plenty of raw damage potential in the early game. I mean, you give them an inch, and they will take your ancient. That's exactly what they're drafted to do. Maybe all but the Shadow Fiend. I like to think of Shadow Fiend as more of a trust fund to go later into the game and not have to worry too much about it. But he still does a fairly good amount of early game damage himself, too, so...
No breaking through the
I mean, he's more of an all-around carry. The right-click damage from his souls end up doing a huge amount in the early game, and items,
bottom towers getting the business.
and the minus armor being his primary carry steroid, doing a lot in the later portion of the game. So I really like Union Gaming's draft, actually, right now, and even though Luccini have a really good combo in fights, and we may just see Union Gaming taking one bad fight and it turning completely around, that's to say if this game lane continues to go in favor of Union, but they still have a potent draft, and you can't count them out at any point in the game, but we'll have to take a look as Union Gaming pulling away with this early game, about 1,000 net worth lead, 1,000 experience lead, 3.5 minutes, so they're making use of this early aggression that they were able to get away with, and I mean, they've got there from Storm Spirits farming really well in the mid lane. He's almost got his level 6. His CS is actually trumping that of Atsui, and that's to be expected. Shadow Fiend starts off pretty slow, but once he starts finding those initial last hits, he starts to snowball. And being 14 at 4 minutes, not exactly where you want to be, but definitely not out of the game. And if they do stack up some camps for him, then they should be able to pull him right back on in to a commanding position. But they've got to start really focusing on making that happen if they want the Shadow Fiend to make huge use of the jungle. So in the top lane, it looks like the sword is going to die again. This time, Jerry, well, actually, again, Jerry will secure up that kill, going 2-0 in this early lane. Should be able to find himself a pretty quick mech at this rate. Hell, quick mech into a quick Aghanim Scepter. That's going to be a very, very problematic to deal with. And Atsui is actually starting to farm up some decent CS now. I mean, his raises are starting to stack up. But unfortunately, their bottom tier 1 tower is already gone. 4 minutes 50 seconds in, and the bottom tier 2 is already being pressured. This is a huge problem for Union Gaming. If they lose these two towers, they pretty much give up their Ancient Pit, which is being stacked pretty religiously. So they've got to be very careful not to let this one go, or else they could potentially give up a very big gold swing in the form of these big old creeps. So they're going to back off for now, fearing a rotation, getting caught out of position. I think right now, getting something like an Observer Ward up here or over by the Secret Shop could work wonders for them. But in the mid lane, it looks like Citadel making use of that early level 6. He's got a Hatred, but running out of mana. He's actually out right now. If he stays in for one more race, he could die. But he is alive for the time being, forced out a couple of rotations from Kamuzi and Angel Almond, which slows down this push in the bottom lane, but it's not really slowing it down all that much, as they just went to the jungle and they're trying to farm up as much as possible anyway. And here we go. They start to stack a couple of camps, which is a huge amount of just sitting gold for the Shadow Fiend to go through and raise. However, same thing is being done for Citadel over here on Union Gaming's jungle, as a couple of camps are ready for him to take down with a couple of remnants. So looks like Angel Almond going into the mid lane, trying to get a good amount of experience, looking to try to get that level 6 out fairly quickly. Probably won't get it anytime in the near future, but hanging close to this mid lane works to help him get it a little bit faster. It also protects Katsuya, as you know, with a level 6 on Citadel. He is constantly going to be in running danger of getting dove by that Storm Spirit, and if you've got a support close by, the threat is slightly less.
Dropped out like a kid in school.
So it looks like, even though the disconnect thing came out, it looks like it's probably just a caster, so we don't have to worry too much about that. No more pauses, at least for the time being. Citadel continuing to farm up very well, 36-7, but the big thing here is that Suyu is actually pulling ahead of him right now. In CS and at net worth, he's actually ahead of him by a pretty decent margin, so things to consider whenever you're playing with a Shadow Fiend. Stacking camps is a really, really good thing for him to do. I can tell from personal experience and from watching a couple of games that you let this guy farm up anything more than the wave, and you're potentially giving away a huge, huge amount of gold. I mean, what is that? 3 camps, each one about 150? That's 450 gold just kind of sitting there. So just some big things to keep in mind whenever you're playing versus a Shadow Fiend. You don't want to let this kind of stuff get slip under your nose. So Union Gaming, 4 kills up, but the farm is starting to go down in favor of Luccini. In fact, we take a look at the graphs, and they've kind of pulled it a little bit back, edging slowly but surely towards that equilibrium point.
Regeneration.
And with 1,700 gold, we have to see what Atsuya is going for. It could be the popular mech pickup, which has been grabbed on most Shadow Fiends nowadays. Or, again, could be going for that Blink Yules combo to try to burst someone down with the Insta Requiem, Insta Gib. Both very common paths for Shadow Fiends to play in any bracket. So, first Hand of God coming out. I think it's just a value Hand of God now. It is going on cooldown for 150 seconds, so that is quite the huge cooldown. It scales very, very well, though. You're only going to 120 seconds, but when you pick up an Ags, it's something ridiculous, like 40 or so. Huge thing to note, this Ancient stack There are plenty of them standing, but they're going to go ahead with an aggressive disruption. They want Nightmare with the Light Strike Array. They will bring him down. Absolutely no time wasted on that one. He's gone, short amount of time. Citadel is sitting in close, but taking all the hits up the high ground. If this doesn't give away, well, actually, yeah, if this doesn't give away the fact that there's a high ground ward, I don't know what will. So, 4 heroes grouped in the mid lane, but Schofield is hanging in close. Do they have any idea? No, this is a dire sentry ward. He goes for the impale, but misses. And now, oh, hold on. Can they get the storm of the Light Trick Array? They will not connect. He gets himself away. Not quite timed perfectly. However, the tier 1 tower is going to drop. So nothing they can do about that one. Luccini both put themselves on the board and grab themselves a tier 1 tower. Meanwhile, the Chen, Jerry, trying to make use of his hero and do the same. However, it's not quite working out in his favor. Atsuyu comes up top. He's got the Ring of Akala, a full magic wand too, or at least very close to being full magic wand. And we're going to go ahead with our first pause of the game, other than, you know, the initial one, and take a step back and start to look at this one a little bit deeper. Or not, we're ready to go on into this one. I know you guys were itching to hear my analytical prowess on this one. Storm Spear was 700 gold, looking pretty decent. Wonder what he's going to go for. Typical choices are either Bloodstone or the Orchid. Orchid might be the better option here just because of the sheer amount of counter initiation that can come out from both the Lina and the Shadow Demon if you were to initiate on either one solo. Gyrocopter, he's up in the top lane, hasn't died once, in fact has 2 kills to his name. But, I mean, his farm isn't exactly, well, okay, it's good. It's more than good. It's looking very good, but
Radiant's mid tower could use a hand.
doesn't mean he's not going to have a lot of trouble in this game making use of that farm. They're going to go in for the mid-tier 1 tower. They've got Chen here, but it's going to end up just being a tier 1 trade. And this, I think, both teams are quite alright with. Who does it favor more? I got to put it towards Union Gaming a little bit more. Just because you've got Luccini, who can burst down towers and fight early. And, I mean, they're just trading towers right now. The tier 2 is going to go down both in mid and probably in top. Both teams have a glyph to spend. But neither team really opting to use it just yet. Looks like finally range is going to be spent. Dire probably going to go ahead and get put on very soon as well. Neither team really looking to a TP to defend. Is this going to turn into just a straight up base race right now? It's 11 minutes in, and now we get some TPs back. The tower is going to go down. Eliadel hanging in close. And Tungzi, did he cancel his TP? He did. Or at least he didn't TP complete it, so he is caught by the enemy tier 2. Some chip damage done to the tier 3 mid. And that was kind of an odd set of trades there, but I do, again, think that Union Gaming did come out slightly on top, mostly because they were able to get some chip on the tier 3 tower, whereas theirs is actually very, very healthy, full HP, but also because of the fact that, again, this early game aggression from Luccini isn't really netting them too much advantage. Now, they've got a couple towers advantage, only 1 tower advantage right now in favor of Luccini, which is a pretty big problem considering their lineup. And again, you're going up against the Chen, so I guess it's more expected than you would imagine initially. And oh no, he's got this Ancient stack well underway. Look at the damage being done to it. And that was 4 Ancients, 3 Dragons, 3 of them. They actually look like that. Yeah, they do. They actually look like that. That's actually hilarious. So Benhaz will go ahead and clear up 4 Ancient camps. He's sitting at 2,100 gold. He's got the Helm of the Dominator. And forget when I said his farm wasn't looking as great as it could be. He is now well ahead in the net worth graph and looking very close to picking up a BKB, which getting that at about 15 to 20 minutes is a huge plus for them, as it means that Luccini pretty much can't fight at all. If he goes for a damage item, even better, because, I mean, even though they can decrep him, they can put some shit on him, he'll be able to keep himself pretty well sustained with the Helm of the Dominator. Now, a glimpse back, they throw in Eliadel, they're going to call down as well. He's trapped in Static Storm for only a short time. He's able to get out just in time to pop a mech. A defensive disruption goes out, or an offensive disruption rather, goes out into Benhaz, but doesn't really accomplish too much. 2 dead, Union Gaming 6-1 of Luccini. And this actually could just be their green light to go. I mean, 2 dead without buyback, although 20 seconds and only 13 minutes
Radiant's
in,
top
they've
towers
got
are
what it takes to just push. But it looks like they won't do so right now. They're gonna pull themselves back. They've got 2 Satyr Tormentors, so the regen is real. They've got the armor, the damage. They pretty much have
Radiant's top
everything they
tower's in
need to
bad
just
shape.
straight up fight right now. The only thing that they need a little bit more is the initiation to be perfect, and they will just secure
Radiant's top
whatever
tower is
lead they
taking
got in this
hits.
game. I mean, they're looking really, really good. Top 2 of the net worth are on their team. The next highest, Shadow Fiend, is barely keeping up. The net worth, well in favor of them. 5,000 gold, 7,500 experience. And, I mean, they could almost look to just straight up go for a Roshan right now, or anything really. Just take objectives. They're so far ahead right now that maybe killing is not exactly what they want to do. Instead, focus on getting those objectives, focus on getting gold that way, and make sure that there's no real room for Luccini to come back into this game. Taking a look at some of Luccini's items. I mean, they've got that Urn of Shadows, but they haven't really been getting kills to make it useful. Darkseer, going for what looks to be a Vanguard, which, interesting choice, I must say. Lina with Tranquil Boots, although support Lina makes sense. Shadow Fiend, very slowed from where he was before. Doesn't have anywhere near either a mech or a Yules or anything common for Shadow Fiends to go. Instead, going straight for that BKB. Smart, but it hurts him that he has to go for it like this. Eliadel, looking, he does have that next, so I guess it makes sense. Atsui, oh man, he's in a lot of trouble right now. He's going to pop out the Requiem, and it will connect. Actually, Citadel taking a huge amount of damage from it. Atsuyu, he gets away for now. And with a call down, it's a 1-for-1 trade, but it's a mid for a support.
Radiant's bottom tower ain't a pretty sight.
And now Schofield looking for more, doesn't end up finding it. A glimpse back, locks Anglamon in place. They will go ahead. Benaz finds the second kill of the fight for him, but again, 2 supports. No one else really going down. The sword actually could drop as well. They're going to take him out, so now it's a 3-for-1. And that makes it start to become a little bit more worth it. 4-for-1. And now it's a completely one-team fight for Union Gaming. So Luccini, I won't tie it down to anything. Maybe just a little bit of experience from them, or inexperience from them. But whatever the case, it started out as a very good trade for them, and they just weren't able to disengage correctly, and that cost them pretty much that team fight. So the score is 2-10 right now in Union Gaming. Well, what lead they had is definitely going to be just pitfalling even further. 7,500 net worth now, approaching 10,000 experience advantage for them. And what's this? Oh no, this is the one that you cannot have die at all. He's going to try to raise combo down Nightmare. If you can find the second one, maybe the third one. He's looking for it. Needs a long-range raise. No, he pops the long-range raise. That's actually a huge issue now. A Vendetta Strike goes out into Atsuya. He gets blocked out by the kinetic field. He's still trying to juke out right now. Locking oh man, he gets it. Looking for the TP. He gets the TP. No, the glimpse. He will find the raise combo though. Turns around the second raise and he kills himself. We'll end up getting the kill regardless.
Radiant's top
but
tower's in bad shape.
Spiked Carapace
No
doing
breaking
its
down
work
the
right
radiant
now.
Structures like
So
this.
he's looking pretty good right now.
Radiant's top tower
Second
is
highest in the
taking
net
hits.
worth chart. The death on Storm Spirit really killed him, but net worth still well in favor of Union Gaming right now, as Citadel, or Ben has rather, still farming up a Storm right now. Finished up his BKB, again that pre-20-minute BKB, and now has a huge wave down by him. They can just clear up. So it's looking really, really solid on this gyrocopter. Across the map, though, we can take a look at some of the other items. Our Chen got about 1,000 gold, so if he is going for that Aghanim Scepter, he's getting pretty close to it. Stacking up some ancient camps, another quad camp ready to be taken. And it looks like instead of going for the quad camp just yet, they're going to finish up Roshan, put the Aegis on Benhaz, go for the ancient stack, clear that up. What is this item coming out to him, actually? That's going to be a Yasha. Okay, so a very good item for him to have. Probably going to drop his magic stick for that Aegis. Either that or they give it to Citadel, which actually could be the better of the two options here. And it looks like, yep, that'll be it. Citadel taking the Aegis of Immortality will give him a lot more free range in fights and just be an absolute nuisance. Ben will clean up this Ancient stack, will pretty much get him his Mana Style, or at least very, very close to it. Halfway there to his Ultimate Orb. Definitely a respectable amount of gold coming out from those Ancient stacks. And very well played, might I add, from the Chen. This is the second quad stack that he's had. And Ancients, they go so much further in terms of gold. You're looking a huge amount. Close to 200 per camp. That's 800 per Ancient stack. Just free gold out of nowhere from stacking camps. So exactly what they want out of these fights right now. Anglamon is level 8, looking for an Aghanim Scepter. No, he's actually going to be going for a Yules right now, so doesn't even have that much in terms of his items. And it's good that he's taking a step back and farming it up, but Luccini, they're really running out of time against this Gyrocopter. And, of course, you can't exactly rush something like this because a Gyrocopter, take one bad fight, and he'll clean it up in no time at all. You really got to you got to play it smart, focus him down, and hope that you can win a fight after you spend everything to kill him. So, and of course, killing him now is going to be incredibly difficult. Not only does he have a close to level 16, but the BKB's done, and Ascent and Yasha will be on its way very, very soon. So, things not really looking good for Luccini. For the most part, their entire team is doing all right, but Ben is just completely outdoing the Pugna, who is supposed to be the carry, Eliadel, for Luccini right now.
Trouble brewing at Radiant's bottom.
And I gotta say, this does go a little bit back to their laning. I really would have liked to see them go for that aggressive tri-lane. Maybe they wouldn't have been able to shut down the Gyrocopter instead of the Darkseer, giving a quick 2-0 in the early laning stage. But what's done is done. Now they need to figure out what they're going to do to pull this game back. And we go back to their to what they drafted. They've got a huge amount of team fight where if they can get a couple of disables off before the BKB comes out, they should be able to clean up pretty much anyone and or everyone, given a very good Vacuum Requiem combo. But all that considering that is given to them. Ben finishing up that Sanjin Yasha, 1700 HP. He's not really looking killable right now. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm pretty sure it's going to be near impossible to bring him down in any stretch. You've got a Dark Troll Summoner now stacking up camps for the Shadow Fiend, belonging to the Shadow Fiend, for the Gyrocopter, belonging to himself, so he's taken it upon himself now to get these stacks ready to go. And, I mean, again, free gold out of nowhere. The Gyrocopter is 4-0-4, looking very, very solid in these fights, or in this game, and I really am not looking forward, or I guess Luccini is not looking forward to seeing what he's going to be able to do in a full-on engagement. They're just avoiding them right now. Their tier 1 top is gone. They haven't been able to get a tower since their huge push, 10 minutes ago, and this is pretty much slowed down to a halt. In fact, Kumzi might actually die here, but Schofield sees him, walks right by him, over a sentry ward, gets spotted out. They know he's there, but they might still feed a kill to him anyway. What's this? Atsuya, he goes in. What's this? He gets stunned immediately. What was his plan there? Now a call down. They pull Citadel in. The vacuum goes out. The wall is a hit on, but the sword is just getting completely ransacked. Ben now on the high ground. They glimpse Anglamon further away from Ben. I mean, I guess at this point, skill usage doesn't really matter, but what a fight. And what was he doing? I think the plan there was for him to walk up and Requiem everyone, but he right-clicked. He dropped the right-click. He revealed himself and then immediately got stunned. And the GG well played. We're going to a game 2, 23 minutes, guys. To put it in perspective, the last game 1 between DDA and Sad Voids lasted about 80 minutes. This game, a quarter of the time. So guys, you're watching Chicago Ted. We'll be back with game 2 very soon. In the meantime, stick around. More Sudamerican Dota 2 Masters will be coming up next.